Thank you for watching Indie Christian Review. I'm the storyteller. May God bless you, and may God bless independent Christian films. Cut. Good. I like that one. Let's go with that. Alrighty, Uncle Bob, what is next on the list?
It's here. Storyteller, there's something you should see.
What is it?
Well, there's this weird black-faced person staring at me through what looks like one of them space-time rift thingies.
Wow, that didn't sound racist at all.
Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a mask. You're on your own for this one, kid.
Oh. Hello? I'm the storyteller. Who are you?
Mistress, I think he's there.
Oh, you finally got rid of the idiot with the nose then. Him? Him? 1 minute, please. Are you sure it's him? Him?
Is there a reason I'm sitting here, oh mysterious transmission from what I assume is some kind of alternate universe?
I'm Diamanda Haghan, and this little twerp's been scouring the multiverse to find the most diametrically opposite reviewer in existence.
Diametrically opposed to what exactly?
Me! Nothing else matters.
Mistress, it checks out. It's him. It's definitely him.
Are you a god?
No.
Believe in God?
I'm a Christian, yes.
Male?
Yeah.
Straight?
Yes.
Ever killed anyone?
What? What kind of question is that?
Is that a yes?
No!
Are you an androphile?
I have no idea what that means.
Trick question, you already answered that one. Are you white?
Yes.
I'm whiter. Good work. You'll do.
I'm so glad. Do what exactly?
Core of you, bitch!
I'm so glad you asked. I just hope that's not the name of the movie.
He's alive! He's alive! He's alive! I'm Pokemon! Never skates around my way! He's alive! He's alive! He's alive! I'm Pokemon! Never skates around my way! He's alive! He's alive!
Okay, I'll do a co-review with you, but I want to lay down some ground rules first.
Like what?
No swearing. I looked over some of your episodes during the intro, and I'm not really comfortable with the amount of cussing you do.
But the intro's like 30 seconds long.
Time goes faster in this universe. No cussing, please.
No flinking way. You Clint. What the flink did you do?
Oh, nothing much. So, what are we reviewing?
Megiddo, the Omega Code 2.
An end times movie? Great. Okay, look, since this is a sequel, could I at least review number 1 first?
Will it be quick?
Trust me, much quicker than if you reviewed it.
Fine, I'm gonna fix whatever the flink you did to me! Minions, come here! I want you to fix what this piece of sleep did to me!
The Omega Code came out in 1999 and was bankrolled by Trinity Broadcasting Network, the biggest Christian TV network out there pretty much. Y2K was right around the corner, people were thinking about the end of the world, so TBN decided to take advantage of that. The story revolves around the alleged Bible Code, the idea that by following certain mathematical equations, secret messages can be found in the Torah that predict future events, especially pertaining to the last days. Because the idea of the Bible actually meaning what it says and saying what it means would be crazy. Now, I don't usually do spoilers, but since Diamanda and I are going to be looking at the sequel, I'll give you a quick rundown of the story. Don't worry, it's going to be a lot faster than if she did it. The movie opens with a rabbi deciphering the Bible Code and entering it into a computer program. When the program spits out a prediction that he's about to die, he hides the last page of his notes right before he's assassinated by Michael Ironside. He takes the notes and program and runs off, but is intercepted by two mysterious men who teleport into his path, and then just let him go. Because mysterious. The rest of the movie revolves around the hero of the story, Dr. Gillen Lane, a motivational speaker, mythology expert, and student of the Tom Cruise School of Crazy Talk Show Appearances.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so.
This is bad comedy.
He travels to Europe and attends a charity auction held by newly elected EU Chairman Stone Alexander, who has funded the development of ways to end world hunger and water shortages. European, rich, philanthropic, holds political power. If you know your end times movies, you know this guy's the Antichrist. Stone recruits Gillen to travel the world with him and use his motivational speaker powers to help him broker peace talks. Along the way, Stone's minions secretly continue to translate the stolen Bible Code, and Stone uses it to guide his rise to power. Gillen eventually discovers this and for some reason is very upset that Stone's been using the code, which really in the context of the story doesn't make much sense why he'd be so upset. Yeah, sure, he's been getting some ominous and secretive warnings up to this point, but I don't see why from his perspective he would be so upset about Stone using the code as a script. Sure, we know Stone is evil because anyone with a basic understanding of premillennial eschatology can tell right away he's the Antichrist. But in the world of the movie, he hasn't done anything overtly evil. I mean, it's not like he's been killing his father or shooting down bolts of lightning or something. Or has he? Even though Gillen refuses to join the dark side, Michael Ironside tries to shoot him out of jealousy because he wanted to be Stone's prophet. He ends up shooting Stone by accident, but like all movie antichrists, death is a minor inconvenience, as Stone's body is resurrected and possessed by Satan. Gillen spends the rest of the movie on the run as he's blamed for killing Stone. The two prophets from the beginning of the movie give him the final code. Stone becomes ruler of the world and Gillen is eventually recaptured. Stone gives him one final chance to join him, saying he'll bomb Israel if Gillen doesn't give him the code. Gillen finally relents, enters the final code, and Stone orders the attack anyway.
You're far too trusty.
But before the airstrike can follow through, a heavenly light blasts the devil out of Satan's body, restoring the head wound and killing him again. Earth gets reformatted like Cybertron at the end of Beast Machines, and the final code is revealed to be Dawn of the New Millennium. Now, in the interest of time, I did leave out the subplots, but I think you get an idea of what this movie is like. The Omega Code is an interesting movie. You can tell they were trying very hard to be clever and different, but the execution and just the premise were so flawed, it's really hard to take this thing seriously. One big giant plot hole that jumped out at me was the fact that the bad guys apparently know enough about the Bible and this code to know that the codes are going to lead to world domination. But they apparently ignored the part at the end, that's written in plain English I might add, that says that God wins in the end. I guess that's what you get if you don't take the Bible literally. Normally, I love Christian movies, but I cannot stand end times movies. They fall into so many traps of bad storytelling that are easily avoidable, but people still treat them like they're the greatest things in the world. It just makes my head hurt. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Omega Code 1.
Thanks for not fixing this flinking piece of slate. You ready or what?
I was born ready.
You must have had an interesting childhood. The Omega Code was one of the more harmless end times movies. It was bad and really stupid, but not enough to be hilarious. In either category.
Plus, it had Casper Van Dien playing Tom Cruise. So, with the devil defeated in part 1, where could part 2 go?
Well, when the director of Turkey Shoot gets involved, anywhere.
turkey shoot? Is that any good?
Honestly, it's probably got more dismemberment, werewolves, rocket launchers, graphic violence, and lesbian crossbow rape than you're used to. And where does the director of Turkey Shoot bring us? To Virginia, in the 50s/60s/50s/60s.
What we have here is young Stone Alexander, the Antichrist from the Omega Code, with his dad Felix Leiter. Clearly this is going to be a prequel to the first film.
Of course, it could be that they intended to do a prequel, but then they forgot to stop writing and the film ended up as a remake.
But that would be demented.
When watching end times movies, always bet on demented! Anyway, Stone really flinking hates his baby brother.
Everybody thinks you're cute. I hate you. You killed my mother.
And what about you, Stone?
I'm afraid he still misses his mother.
So do I. But it's been 3 months. It's time to get over it.
After all, it only took me 3 days to get over that shark eating my arms and legs.
Yes, Father. Good night, sir. I know. I miss her too. The good Lord took your mother, but he gave you a new baby brother. Would you like some hot chocolate, dear?
Please don't offer to sleep with the child to make him feel better.
That's terrible! How could you joke about something like that?
By forming a concept in my mind, scripting it, and then saying it. How do you joke about something like that?
I don't. The maid tries to help out by explaining that while God took his mother, he also gave him a baby brother. Kind of like the saying, God closes a door but opens a window.
Of course, this leads young Stone into believing that God deliberately worked with the baby to murder his mother. And then he gets possessed by Lucifer. I would be ranting about how unjust this whole thing is, but I'm not convinced they meant for this to have a coherent theology to begin with.
Yeah, it does kind of look like they just chose random things, whether it fit or not.
Okay, you twisted my arm, I'll rant. How did he get possessed? He's clearly not yet reached the age of accountability, and therefore, according to most Christian churches, he can't even go to hell. Was this predetermined? Was this child created just for this purpose? Did the God let Lucifer possess him? Is Lucifer more powerful than the God in this? If not, then the God must have had some kind of consent in this.
Breathe, breathe.
This is exactly why stories like The Omen of the child be the product of centuries of Lucifer-loving death cults creating abomination children through gay genetic manipulation.
Did you just reference Nikolai Carpathia's origin in the Left Behind novels?
Yes! Left Behind did that part well. Well, better than this.
You might be thinking about this too much. And too loudly. It is a bit of a bad message for any kids watching, though. Don't dare be sad about your mom dying or the devil will get you.
Still, it'll give them a rock-solid alibi for trying to kill their unwanted baby brothers and sisters. The devil literally made him do it.
They deal with Stone by leaving him in a military academy school in Italy. It was 1960, he's from a rich family, and he was an uncontrollable wayward child. It was either this or a lobotomy. Also, Michael York was born in 1942. So, by my math, that makes this kid the youngest 18-year-old in history.
Why the flink are the kids mocking him for trying to kill a baby? There's more than one kind of ostracized, and that's not the kind kids give for attempted murder. They should be whispering and pointing behind his back. And this choice of shot makes it look like Jesus is joining in the laughing.
Actually, I'm getting more of a Jesus looks down knowingly, but is sad that he's going to have to take him down later kind of feel. Stone wanders into an abandoned church that's a paradox. It's clearly destroyed, but at the same time it's in use, but it's been abandoned for so long that the rats have magically turned into gravity-defying were-hyenas? That's how evolution works, right?
Only according to Kent Hovind.
Give me strength to spread your message over the earth.
Your wrist is very limp, my master. This is an obvious joke to make, but I'm not convinced he hasn't just walked into Udukir's summer home by accident.
Hey, when he slices his hand open and drops blood on the kid's face, it's like he's being trained to look like you.
Yeah, you can burn all the babies you want, but until you have red on your face, you're just a little pissant.
I'm surprised they're being so anti-Catholic with their imagery here. I mean, the church, the upside-down cross, which is actually a traditional symbol of St. Peter and the Pope. At least they're being more subtle about it than that parkour movie Leap, Rise of the Beast. Of course, it may not have been intentional in the first place.
This seemed effective when combat took place face to face. But with the invention of firearms, particularly the machine gun, these same tactics resulted in the slaughter of thousands of brave men. What does this mean?
As military leaders, you will be responsible for the lives of your men.
It means you have a time warp in your armory. And it makes you sound like Carrie Elways.
Did someone replace the movie with a romance?
Looks like it, and if I know my Italian romance movies, we should be seeing more tits than you've seen in your whole life in 3, 2, 1.
How did you say that word? I thought we had the filter set on maximum.
I pretended I meant a common type of bird. Pray I don't think of an innocent use of the word sleet.
In battle, there are two kinds of soldiers. Those who live and those who die. To live, you must learn to kill. Killers win wars. The victors will graduate with special honors.
1. That's a much less interesting version of the Patton speech.
2. That's also stuff he should have told them earlier in their 10 years at the school.
3. What sort of idiot bestows special honors on an entire team because of a one-off event?
4. It doesn't matter because we have Udo Kier, smoke powers. I don't know how to pronounce these people's names. I am sorry.
Looks like you're lost, friend.
It's really unfair when the movie can swear and I can't.
He doesn't like the beaten Italian insulting Stone, so he, rather theatrically, makes the paintball absorb into his body so he starts choking on it, potentially killing him. Which seems like it would be counterproductive to Stone's career, because it'd be technically murder, and is there any reason why he can't just do that for himself without Udo's help? I have a short list of things I like in my boo-hiss cinema Antichrist, and being able to kill people by himself without people realizing he did it is on the list.
Above or below him having a stupid name?
Oh, definitely below. The stupid name is the most important part of an Antichrist.
Damn right!
Sorry to butt in, but you actually both missed something. Paintball wasn't invented until 1980, so the movie's about 10 years off.
Really? Huh. Thanks, Mr. Researcher. No, that was actually worth mentioning. Of course, I wish I had thought of it first, but I'm sure I'll find something else to complain about.
So, Stone is told by the commandant of the academy that he's going to be investigated for the paintball/gun wound on the Italian guy. Stone demands for the commandant's consent to date his daughter, and the commandant chucks him out of the school. Stone refuses the expulsion, demands again to see his daughter, and raises impossible death by smoke monster. If the commandant agrees to his terms, Stone promises not to damn him.
You will give me what I want, and in return, I will give you your soul. Your immortal soul.
Can he do that?
No, he can't. Unless he's saying in some roundabout way that he just won't kill him, which would then send him to hell. But this would give the commandant a chance to later accept salvation through Jesus, which is the last thing the devil would want. But God's not going to save him just because the devil won't take him. That's not how salvation works.
Ha! He's like the theological equivalent of the kid no one wants to be friends with.
The commandant accepts Stone's offer and he graduates with top honors. His dad, who hasn't aged a day, and his little brother actually take time off from their busy schedules to attend the ceremony.
Congratulations, son.
Thank you, Father. David, finally we meet. So you're my little brother?
Well, hope I meet your approval.
Of course you do. It's 1976. He's always wanted a pet Backstreet Boy.
Stone's meant to be about 20, by the way. It's like they realized the younger version was 10 years too young to be Michael York later on, so to balance it out, they made this guy 10 years too old.
Stone's forgoing a military career or a job at the Romanian Parliament and instead leaping directly to working at that old Antichrist favourite, the European Union.
But his dad wants him to come home to America.
You should come home with me and learn the business.
No. I was raised here in Europe. This is my home.
I think he wants to run tests on why an American raised with Italians speaking English sounds English rather than like an Italian. David Alexander, Stone's formerly estranged brother, is so dedicated to staying estranged that he instantly falls in love with Stone's girlfriend.
Stealing my bride, David?
Oh, sorry, fiancé.
Bride?
What do you mean?
I was going to ask you earlier, but I could never get you alone. Gabriella, marry me. Marry me and I'll take you to the top of the world.
She doesn't like mountain climbing, so she'll think about it. I'm sure she'll marry him when he's lost a few inches, is much less muscular and more resembles Michael York. Here we are about 25 years later. And can you spot the subtle differences in the actors playing Stone and David?
Well done, Stone.
Thank you.
Well, both my sons have become better public speakers than I ever was.
Ooh, can I take the goodie and you take the baddie?
Sure. As you can see, the kid who played Michael Biehn was a little shorter, but he was supposed to be 16, so that can be forgiven. He has a similar wiry build, but his eyes are a different colour. Anything else? Oh yeah, he's suddenly not blonde.
I meant Stone was the bad guy. Forget it. As you can see, Stone's lost about 6 inches in height, his muscles deflated for some reason, and he lost a few pounds in his skull and jawbone.
They compound the whole thing by having their father look identical no matter the time period.
It really wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have the characters standing next to each other in scenes back to back, so you clearly see how Stone went from towering over his dad to being dwarfed by him.
Nah, it would have been. If you're not paying attention to the film, it's easy to miss that they're playing the same characters at all. In some shots, Stone even looks older than his father. Which is just down to bad youthening makeup on Michael York, because David Hedison is 15 years older than him.
David's not seen Stone's now wife in a decade or two, so he immediately begins flirting with her again. It's like they keep trying to jam a soap opera into this end times movie. And it's not even a good combination like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's more like a genre car crash.
At the same time, I'm trying to ignore the knight carrying a boom mic and concentrate on the drama. The dad's sorry that he left Stone to be raised in the academy, and he insinuates that he knows Stone is evil.
I rather like what I've become.
Thank you for making my point.
We know he's evil because we're watching the film! What's his excuse?
He still hates Stone for trying to kill David, and thinks he's evil as a rationalization for the hate he knows he shouldn't feel, and just happens to be right by accident?
Good answer.
Stone's become head of the European Union. How? I don't know. I'm fairly sure there is no head of the EU anyway. There's a constantly rotating presidency which is filled by the leaders of the various countries or something. Did he even become a citizen of a European country?
Maybe the makers assumed that if you can become president of the USA by being an American citizen, then you can become president of any other country by being an American citizen.
This bit is set in 2001. Mr. Researcher, who was the European Union president in 2001?
Well, the office has 6-month terms. It was Göran Persson of Sweden from January till June, and Guy Verhofstadt of Belgium from July to December. Forgive me if I mispronounced any of those.
Thanks. You know, funny thing is, both of those names would make better sounding Antichrist names than Stone Alexander.
Anyway, Dad's changed his will, so Stone's only going to inherit a castle in Rome and get a generous trust fund, with the rest going to charity.
There will be a generous trust fund for you and David. You will get the castle in Rome. David can have the Virginia estate. Both of you will be quite comfortable, I assure you.
He owns a flinking continent. He's already plenty comfortable. And why does your middle-aged son need a trust fund? Stone, of course, isn't impressed and shows off his moderate control of doors.
I suppose I would miss you if I cared anything at all about you, but... see... I don't.
Ta-da!
Go to hell.
I just killed my dad in front of a camera. I'm smooth. So would killing his dad really change anything? He was just going to announce that he was giving everything away. I mean, surely it's already in his will, or not, because 10 years later, Stone's used his dad's media empire to take over the world.
I give them some credit for having the Antichrist take an entire lifetime to do that. Most of these films haven't taken less than 20 minutes.
This is my blood, spilled by my enemies. Drink it and vanquish. This is my flesh, made foul with sin. Eat it, and rejoice in my new kingdom.
Movie? You know the Black Mass is a real thing, right? There's words they say in everything. You don't need to make it up.
Is there a point to this?
Not usually, but yeah. I'm building up to playing audio from an actual Black Mass. You might want to cover your ears.
Sure.
Stop your fucking dancing!
Lucifer, save us! Master, save us!
I can't hear you. And more importantly, I can't hear anything else.
Oh, it's just some people playing dress up and being silly. It's as harmless as Morris dancing. Or Greek Orthodoxy.
Besides, he's the Antichrist. Maybe he's the only one who really knows how to do it. Maybe the others are doing it wrong. I mean, if Jesus appeared and told my church it was doing stuff wrong, after we took something for the shock, we would change how we did things.
So, what's Stone done in the last 10 years? Well, the whole world's been brought under his control, except for the usual plucky Americans who are the primary audience, so you don't want to upset them. The Chinese, because godless, I suppose, and...
Ooh, I want to explain this one. And the Latins, because Central and South America are one country now, which apparently hates the Antichrist.
You know, now that he has almost everyone in the world lined up on his side, he'll be looking for ways to put pressure on us.
Where do the Chinese and Latins stand on this issue?
Uncommitted.
In other words, random!
Satellite photos show lots of activity in and around Russian nuclear weapon storage sites.
They're moving stuff around?
Well, the CIA says someone's offered them a truck full of money for some nukes.
That has not been confirmed.
Who made that offer?
Well, it's gotta be my brother.
So is there any reason the Antichrist needs to buy Russian nuclear weapons? I mean, he's in charge of the whole world except America, China, and the Latins. So unless Russia emigrated to Paraguay, I think they're his nukes already.
President Hartman of the United States and Vice President Stone Alexander's little brother fly to Rome for a meeting with him.
Even though the president and vice president legally cannot be out of the country at the same time, and they cannot fly on the same plane, even if they're going to the same place. Apart from that, this scene is great.
On the way, David mentions that everyone who opposed Stone is dead.
The CIA has compiled a list of 200 names that at one time or another opposed my brother, either politically or in business.
Let me guess.
Dead. Every one of them.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking shocked.
Wait, how did you do that?
I said F-U-K-K, not F-U-C-K, so...
Update the anti-cuss field.
Will do. She is a clever one.
At a speech, I noticed that Udo Kier is keeping up with the bizarre aging in this movie by not aging a day in the 45 years since he met Stone.
That was one hell of a speech, Chancellor.
Not as good as the one that got you elected.
You are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on Earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
Best State of the Union ever.
The meeting goes as you'd expect. Join me! No. Join me! No. Join me! No.
Isolationism is so passé. No, the North American zone must join the others.
North American zone?
Surely that should be the United States must join the North American zone, because, Canada exists and it's part of the Antichrist Empire. Unless it joined the USA when we weren't looking, and given what happened in South America, that's very possible.
I fear we might have missed a much more interesting film between scenes. So they agree to disagree, shake hands, and Stone can now poison people via touch. Is that biblical?
Well, it could be an inversion of Mark 16:17 through 18, where it said that the godly could survive poisons and snake bites. So maybe the Antichrist can dispense them?
You can survive snake bites?
Well, I've never been bitten.
Minion, put a snake in a box, rattle it up and send it to him! Care of Diamanda Haggan. Love.
Maybe explaining the Bible to her is a bad idea.
Is there a non-horrible reason that the Antichrist killing someone in Rome is scored with Middle Eastern music?
No. With the president being busy with dying, David forgoes his duties as acting president, abandons his guards, and goes to visit his brother, the man he believes murdered the president.
You think you got away with it? Don't you? I beg your pardon? I don't know how you did it, but I'm going to find out. As long as we have the Chinese and the Latins on our side, you don't have a chance in hell of getting what you want. I'll always have a chance in hell, David.
Wait, if they're missing all of America minus the heathen Canadians, then they're not really a new world order. More like a semi-world, fairly disordered, really.
Bye, Stone. This is unacceptable, Father. I will have what is rightfully mine.
I can see my house from here!
You don't really expect anybody to believe that, do you? I wasn't even up there. There are witnesses. This is television. People believe anything they see on television.
Bullshit! Anyway, Arlie Ermy ran off to a film that'll let him say Mother Flinker.
Mr. President, we have received official word. Your brother, the president,
Still refuses to join us. Well, in the great scheme of things, my earthly brother is a minor inconvenience. They believe in me now. Me! Yes, test them. Give them tribulation. Spill out your bowls of wrath, unleash your plagues. I challenge you!
I've gone all shivery. Goodbye, Master. Thanks for your call.
Wait, God in this is so petty that he will drop flaming rocks on the world and kill countless people just because Michael York yelled at him? At least aim at the Antichrist, you dick!
How did you?
I was comparing him to Dick Van Dyke, a much bigger insult. You stupid dyke.
He can't aim at the Antichrist. The whole thing needs to play out. He can't just kill the Antichrist.
Why?
I think it has something to do with free will.
Either God's reacting to the Antichrist challenge, or the Antichrist is yelling at no one and God already planned to do this and it was miraculous timing.
That's the word, miraculous.
Fine, touché, but the Antichrist in this has killed 200 people. By my estimates, that's less than God's killing right now.
I agree.
You agree?
Yes, the real God wouldn't answer a challenge by murdering thousands of people. He doesn't have to answer challenges. He's God. This is just a movie, and it's not very well written.
He wants to control the world.
When is world peace the same as controlling the world?
When it involves an unelected world dictator. I don't care how amazing your silver hair is. In context, that was a stupid question.
Hey, look, the Russian president. So why did Stone need to buy black market Russian nukes earlier?
Huh. A sea of black people in Africa worshipping a white guy in a lovely suit with a hat that's a beautifully colonial shade of cream.
Thank you, my children of Africa. For indeed you are my children.
Oh, Flink, it gets worse.
Do you think the director dared the writer to come up with the most offensive imagery possible?
Knowing his filmography, yes, I do. He knew he had to outdo Apocalypse and its Christian cattle trucks, so he went all out.
Stone's speech in Africa quickly does a 180-degree turn, and he starts verbally attacking the crowd for not seeing him as God.
You deny me, your God!
Not true, you're not God!
And for this, you will be punished! Pray to me! Pray!
Oh, good one. You just convinced the whole world that you were behind the natural disasters. And I don't know what crime conjuring lightning and killing people with it is technically, but he has a lot of witnesses.
Really? Destroying a priceless giant ancient statue? The Antichrist wasn't even challenging at that time. Go home, God. You're drunk and acting like the Taliban.
It's worse than that. The natural disasters have severely damaged America, and they're under sanctions from the rest of the world, meaning they now have renewed internal pressure to join the New World Order.
We gave the president our trust. We rallied behind him because we believed in his integrity. But his career has been based on lies. The Justice Department has obtained the following security camera video.
It reveals that Daniel Alexander's death was no accident.
He's on the screen, sir.
Breckenridge, you are a liar and a coward.
But your hair is outstanding. How bad is it that the part where the FBI tried to arrest the president for murder is the part where I most have to shred my sense of disbelief?
America is mine. The president has fled his office, and his government votes even now to join my world union. So, when we all gather in the Middle East, I trust that you will be there too.
The Chinese people will never bow before you.
If all 10 zones are not with you...
Oh, they will be. We summon...
Linda Blair, Richard Burton, Louise Fletcher, Max von Sydow, James Earl Jones, Exorcist II, The Heretic.
Oh, I'm sorry. The film went crazy for a minute and thought it was The Exorcist II.
I'd get that looked at. I hear it can be fatal. Later that night, the president and some loyal soldiers suit up and attack Stone's castle. You know, they spent a quarter of the movie setting up the Antichrist as a martial genius, and then they have his brother do this. I really think they should have swapped the origin stories.
Ah, Brother Dave. Hold your fire! Look, would you mind turning out the lights when you finish? He's not here.
I like that. It's pretty much what would happen if they tried to SEAL Team 6 me. They find the Antichrist's wife in the dungeons, allowing her and David to have a final brief moment before she dies of Catholic guilt.
Gabriella.
You spent less time in her presence than you spent having bowel movements. Get over it!
Sir, I thought you should know that the Chinese are rolling into the Middle East.
Really? Did anyone tell Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kazakhstan, and Haganistan? Wait, Haganistan? Oh, hey, you exist in my world.
I'm ecstatic. So the president decides to abort his desperate escape from the midnight raid that apparently no one noticed, and investigates a fully operating church 100 feet from the Antichrist's home base.
Yeah, Christianity was made illegal in the New World Order a while ago, so this is like having a busy synagogue within stone's throwing distance of the wolf's lair. I can only guess that the Antichrist men can't speak English and are blind.
Save us.
Save us. Save us. Save us. Save us.
Wow, they took the eating flesh thing literally.
You mean the Catholic doctrine of transubstantiation?
No, I meant as in brains.
That's uncanny.
I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end.
Save us.
I bet they do that to every American who walks in.
The armies of the world are drawing their forces to Megiddo. Not because it's the most strategic location in the world, but because prophecy.
This is one of the problems with end times movies. They try to make reality fit their pre-existing idea of what's going to happen. Doing this in the Middle East, let alone Israel, makes less than no sense. But because the interpretation says it's happening there, it must.
I agree, it is a bit weak. But the Chinese's computer-generated tank technology is amazing.
As you can see, interim President Breckinridge is there at Megiddo representing the United States government, while the worldwide manhunt for David Alexander continues.
Apparently, the Antichrist castle and a busy church in the center of Rome aren't in the world. Good to know.
I just noticed the president is an illegal immigrant in the Mexican camp. Anyway, they plan their attack on the Antichrist forces. They have the combined armies of Latin America, some loyal Americans, and the Chinese. The Antichrist has everyone else. It's such an uneven match. Why didn't they at least give President David the military background?
Because David and Goliath?
Oh, yeah, that's a little clever. But they named the villain Stone. I mean, unless they use Michael York to kill the rest of his army, I don't think they quite understand the story.
My troops, you have taken the first step on the journey to Jerusalem, the journey to a new world!
Where the hell is that camera? Oh, fine. Just cut to President David wandering up to the enemy camp and then praying loudly in the only greenery in a 30-mile radius.
Lord, why me?
Because you're the star of the movie.
There must be someone else.
Well, we asked Lance Henriksen, but he told us to go get bent.
Hey, movie, do you realize that literally the only thing that separates him from his brother is the loss of their mother? Stone lost his mum and became the avatar of the devil. President David never knew his mother and becomes God's champion. A, what the hell was David Hedison packing in his jeans? And B, what message does this send to people who lose a parent? Daddy? Daddy? Oh, he's dead. I guess I have to destroy the world now.
Are you finished?
Probably.
Listen, if this movie had anything resembling a coherent theology or looked like it intended to be taken seriously, then that would be problematic. But as it stands, it's just a very dumb movie.
Stone! Touché. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you all to raise a glass to salute the arrival of my brother at Megiddo. And to acknowledge that from this moment I am indeed my brother's keeper.
I'm sorry.
Oh look, the cream of the outdated Chinese army has arrived. Tanks. Pfft. No one even uses them anymore.
Like the good Bond villain he is, Stone explains what he's up to. Collecting the souls of mankind, making them loyal to him. Not to win a physical war, but to annoy God. I realize that as the Antichrist, he has a limited amount of possible plans, but couldn't you do better than that?
The Antichrist made one fatal flaw. Getting into a land war near Asia. Also, forgetting that God's omnipotent, so this was a terrible plan overall.
I gave no order to attack. What's going on? I'll attack it!
The Chinese have turned against us.
What? Americans, they're attacking on this flank, and the Latins on the other! Fire!
Movie? Latin does not equal Mexican!
All units! Target the enemy headquarters!
I know you felt silly putting the Mexican army alongside the much bigger American and Chinese armies, but you got out of it by having all the Latin American countries merging. You can't now pretend they were actually the Mexicans all along.
Is that really what happened behind the scenes?
Probably. I'm usually right about this kind of thing.
So it's a faith thing, then?
Ignoring you now. This whole battle looks like a bunch of cinematics from a rejected Command & Conquer game. C&C, War of the Beast. I love it when a film goes crazy and suddenly develops a style when it's almost done.
For me, I'd prefer it if a movie had a style from the very start. But maybe I'm as crazy as this filter choice.
Surprise. So, you think you know me? Think again. Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub!
1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of gargoyles.
So, do you still think this is a prequel to the Omega Code 1?
You win. They chose Demented.
Goodbye! I summon the powers of darkness. Rise up, forces of evil. Rise up and destroy all who stand against you. Arise! It is I, your Lord, who commands you!
In case you in the audience only just noticed, this is the End Times movie that just doesn't give a sleet.
The devil. Sorry. He just looks so ridiculous. I almost want to pet him. Anyway, he wounds President David and shows his power over life itself by turning the sun into a close-up of the sun, dramatic chord. You know what's interesting about this battle scene? Both the Antichrist and President David have nothing to do with it. It's like they're sitting out the finale because they're two tired old men.
Hey, they ran out of budget for sunlight.
No one can defeat me! I am the power! I am Lord!
I look like an action figure!
Anyway, God waits for maximum dickish impact. When the Antichrist is won, he arrives and fries Stone's entire army. Even the guys who were capturing unarmed enemies rather than just killing them. These guys joined their army, were folded into an international force, were sent to Megiddo, were attacked by the Chinese, Americans, and Latins, and when they were following the Geneva Conventions for prisoners of war, the god of this movie flat out murders them. This god has been far more evil than them.
Hey, some of the Antichrist's men were about to execute the Latin leader.
So, that's not all of his men, that's some. And this, pretending to be powerless and then surprising people after the battle is finished in order to kill them, that's a war crime.
Well, best of luck getting a fictional version of a seemingly cranky deity to appear at the Hague.
Point. They couldn't get me. What chance do they have getting him?
What? Never mind.
You have failed us. We have lost. We have lost. Nazarene! 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 You are Lord!
So, is there a reason why the devil can't just call him Jesus? And does TBN know? I mean, they bankrolled this. I think they'd be annoyed by that. And as hells go, that's okay, I guess, but it's no Dante's Inferno. I mean, the devil's not even big enough to chew on Judas, Brutus, and Cassius. Anything to add?
Michael Biehn was less than useless in that finale. So, with everyone but the Chinese, Americans, and Latins dead, the new Eden is inherited by about 1 billion new Adams and Eves. Hopefully, this time God put the Tree of Knowledge in space.
Your understanding of Christian theology is weird. and a bit broken. While this movie is certainly one of the better made end times movies out there, it's still not very good. At all. The story is confusing and the theology is convoluted. How the folks at TBN approved this is beyond me. On the plus side, it so completely disregards the previous Omega Code movie that it stands on its own. I would say it's worth watching if you want to see something that definitely doesn't take itself very seriously.
Okay, the bar for end times movies is really low. And to demonstrate that, this is my second favourite. It mixes a couple, but not that many actual end times beliefs, with a lead actor who is clearly having the time of his life and being paid a small fortune for it. With a director who cut his teeth on exploitation films. It's slow moving for the most part, but when it finally kicks off, it's a heady and weird mix. Okay, here's some things I didn't go into detail earlier on, just to demonstrate the special kind of weird this film has. Before the battle, we see Stone's last conversation with the Chinese premier. It went a bit like this.
Join me. No. Join me. No. Join me. No.
And ended with this line.
There is a prophecy. The kings of the East will gather their armies on the plains of Megiddo, and so you shall.
I have not heard a more clear invitation to battle that didn't include the words, I cordially invite you to shoot at me. He even told him where the final battle's gonna be. Which is stupid in its own right, because he told his enemy where he was so they could do a sneak attack. But the Chinese arrived, and the Antichrist knew they arrived, but he was still surprised when they attacked.
The Chinese are arriving at last.
Yes, the Chinese have turned against us. What?
Other stuff makes me think someone messed with the script. Like their choices for the heroic armies. This American-made evangelical movie's heroes are a handful of apparently Protestant Americans. I say apparently because they don't make their religious beliefs clear. Allied with the mostly Catholic armies of Central and South America, and the hundreds of thousands of atheist, Buddhist, animist, Taoist, communist people who make up the Chinese military. I'm wondering if the only reason we haven't got Omega Code 3, Stone's Revenge, is because the Trinity Broadcasting Network is so embarrassed that they managed to make an evangelical movie where Protestants pretty much do jack sleet in the grand scheme of things.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. This could be the start of a beautiful antagonism.
Ah, this ain't the start. I sent you a copy of Where the Dead Gonna Die a while back.
That was you? I still have nightmares from that thing. My gosh, that was demented. What was that? And how did you even send it to me when you were in different universes? I mean, that was... Seriously, what is wrong with you? What was that?
Storyteller, I don't think the machine's calibrated for you.
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.
I think you broke it.
Fuckity bye.
Hey, storyteller. There's a package here for you. It's snake-shaped. Want me to open it?
Minions don't breathe. Instead, she crowns them all in the dungeon.
Hey, boss, what you doing? Oh, hey. Oh, I heard Diamanda Haggan is working on an Omega code, so I'm writing her one. Omega's code. See, I've got a message, and I'm going to replace the letters with numbers. The Omega code? That's the movie. I think she's finished with it anyway. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Hey, boss, what did that message say? If you don't mind me asking, of course. Oh, it was just, Omega loves Diamanda.
You killed him.
No, I did not. I gave him life.